As the successor to last year's Xiaomi 11, Xiaomi debuted with the Redmi Note 12 Pro series, the company's latest mid-range 5G smartphones. These were introduced in China last year, and the manufacturer has now introduced phones with the same moniker. To begin with, the Redmi Note 12 Pro boasts a 6.67-inch Full HD Plus Pro AMOLED display with a pixel resolution of 2410 pixels, a 29 aspect ratio 2.5D curved glass screen, and a pixel density of around 394 ppi. The display is bright, with 900 nits of brightness in high brightness mode, which is activated when watching HDR material. The colors are bright since it supports the DCI-P3 broad color range. It boasts a display refresh rate of 120 Hz and a touch sampling rate of 240 Hz, which when enabled provides a buttery smooth user experience, especially when scrolling through the UI and gaming. The refresh rate is variable, thus it may adjust between 30 Hz, 60 Hz, 90 Hz, and 120 Hz depending on the content. It also supports HDR10+, which is compatible with YouTube and Netflix. Dolby Vision compatibility is also available for Netflix. This is uncommon with phones in this price range. The phone is protected by Corning Gorilla Glass 5. There are many choices for adjusting colors and contrast based on your preferences, as well as a reading mode that allows you to limit the display's blue light emission. Dark mode is available. It also includes 1920 Hz high-frequency PWM dimming, which is enabled by default to eliminate flicker in low-light situations. The phone has an always-on display feature that can be enabled via the display settings. Because it is an AMOLED screen, it does not require a lot of power, but the firm claims that it increases power consumption, therefore it goes off automatically when the phone is dark for an extended period of time or battery saver limits are set. The phone has a tiny punch hole that holds a 16-megapixel camera, which doesn't interfere with watching videos because it takes up so little space. Above the display, on the top edge, there is an earpiece that also serves as a secondary speaker. The phone also includes the standard set of proximity and ambient light sensors, as well as a gyroscope and a magnetometer. The phone features a decent 2.9mm ultra-narrow bottom bezel, but the Realme 10 Pro Plus has a smaller 2.33mm bottom bezel, a 61 degrees curved screen, and 2160 Hz PWM dimming. The volume rockers and the power button, which also houses the fingerprint sensor, are located on the right side of the phone. On the bottom are the dual SIM slot, loudspeaker grill, primary microphone, and USB Type-C port. On the top is a 3.5mm audio connection, a speaker vent, a secondary microphone, and an infrared sensor. Despite its huge screen, the phone is comfortable to hold because to its 76mm width. It is also only 7.98mm thick, and the weight distribution is good, so even with the glass back, it seems light at 187 grams. The phone also boasts IP53 ratings, which are uncommon in phones in this price range. In terms of image quality, daytime images produced good results with a wide dynamic range. Pixel binning technology results in a 13.3-megapixel output. HDR photos have a greater dynamic range. 8-megapixel wide-angle images are adequate. A 50-megapixel mode with a lot of detail. Despite the lack of a telephoto lens, it employs software to provide up to 10x digital zoom. This is analogous to capturing a photograph and afterwards trimming it. Even at 2x zoom, photos begin to lose detail, thus going above 2x is not recommended if you don't want to lose details. The dedicated 2-megapixel macro sensor performs mediocrely. Even without a dedicated portrait camera, it can capture decent portrait images with edge detection. Because of the sensor and calibration, low-light photographs are good, and night mode is even better, making the images brighter and delivering more details. It was even amazing in Pro mode. Flash images are decent, and the flash is not overbearing. Due to the small sensor, daytime front camera images from the 16-megapixel front camera are adequate but not exceptional. The output resolution is 16 megapixel, and the image size is roughly 5 megapixel. Even though it is done with software, portrait images have good edge recognition. It can record films in 4K resolution at 30 frames per second, 1080p at up to 60 frames per second, slow motion 1080p at up to 120 frames per second, and 720p resolution video recording at up to 960 frames per second, but this should be 240 frames per second converted to 960 frames per second. You can also record 1080p videos with the ultra-wide camera and 720p videos with the macro camera. The front camera can capture at up to 1080p 60 frames per second. It comes pre-installed with Android 12 and MIUI 13. It recently received the November 2022 Android security patch. The business stated that it will receive the Android 13 upgrade. Because the MIUI 14 has not yet been released globally, it is unclear when it will receive the update. MIUI 13 allows you to delete a number of system apps. This has all of the standard features including gesture shortcut, one-handed mode, quick ball, and more. It comes pre-installed with Amazon Shopping, Facebook, Prime Video, Netflix, LinkedIn, Zili, Spotify, and Snapchat apps, in addition to the standard collection of utility apps, Google Apps, and Xiaomi's own set of apps. During setup, it also prompts you to install extra apps, which you can ignore. These apps are simple to uninstall, but they reappear when you reset your phone. Despite the fact that targeted adverts and recommendations are available during app setup, there are no ads in the apps. This is one of the first phones to employ the MediaTek Dimensity 1086 nanometers, which is simply an overclocked Dimensity 920 like the one found in the 9 Pro Plus. It includes two A78 CPUs that can run at up to 2.6 GHz and 6 A55 CPUs that can run at up to 2 GHz. It has a Mali G68MC4 processor and up to 8 GB of LPDDR4X RAM. According to the firm, it boasts 3000 mm 2VC liquid cooling heat dissipation and 12-layer graphite sheets, which is an advance over the predecessor. It gets a little warm during hard gaming, such as Genshin Impact and 4G data utilization, but not too hot to handle. In terms of battery life, the phone has a 5000 mAh built-in battery that lasts for a day even with intensive use, and more than a day with moderate use, owing to MIUI 13 optimization. With a day of use, I obtained over 6 hours of screen time at 120 Hz refresh rate. Because the phone supports 67-watt fast charging, it can charge up to 50% in 15 minutes and 100% in 46 minutes with the included 67-watt charger. The Redmi Note 12 Pro Plus comes with a slightly smaller 4980 mAh battery that supports 120-watt fast charging. The Redmi Note 12 Pro, which starts at $235, is a decent update to the Xiaomi 11i, with additional display features such as adaptive refresh rate, Dolby Vision, and 1920 Hz high-frequency PWM dimming. The Dimensity 1080 provides good performance and decent gaming performance without overheating, and the camera has been updated and now includes OIS. However, the design, ultra-wide and 2-megapixel macro cameras remain unchanged from the predecessor, and the phone continues to run Android 12.